Hello beard enthusiasts, my name's Brian and today I'm going to show you how to get rid of the grit from your utility balm. So if you bought enough beard balm, you've probably had this issue at some point or another. You get home and you put some on your hand and you go to rub it in and it's just like wet sand. So how can you fix that? Well, first of all, we got to understand what's happening and why it's happening, and then we'll come back and take a look at how we can fix it.
All right, I wanted to take just a minute and talk about why sometimes you do get some grit in your beard balm. Okay, the first reason is, it's a little bit funny when you think about it. The reason you sometimes get grit in your beard balm is because they only use really good ingredients, or all natural ingredients. And you're thinking, that doesn't make any sense. Why would it have grit in it? Well, the reason being is it doesn't use binding agents. There's no silicones in it. There's no oleates that a lot of other beauty products use. This doesn't have it in it, okay? There are natural binding agents, and there is one in this particular beard balm, and that is jojoba seed oil, which acts as a natural binding agent, kind of under perfect circumstances, under controlled temperature settings that will hold all the ingredients together. The problem is the shipping, and you go through and you put it on a hot truck or a hot warehouse, and then you put it in somewhere cold, or it goes up in an airplane to really cold temperatures. And what happens, I think, is not so much the melting. It's the fact that when it comes back to room temperature, it does it slowly. So if you think about it, in here you've got shea butter, you've got lanolin wax, you've got beeswax, you've got jojoba seed oil. So all of those are going to have different temperatures chemically at which they turn from a liquid back to a solid. So what happens is it goes to room temperature slowly. Each individual ingredient turns solid at a different time, and therefore that kind of causes extra separation and extra grit. So you'll see what we're going to do in the kitchen is we're going to melt everything down in a nice safe way, and then we're going to pop it into the freezer. And by doing that, it's going to get cold faster. So it's going to kind of speed through all of those temperatures at which each ingredient solidifies. And that way it'll all kind of come together in a hurry. And then if we keep it in kind of the room temperature setting after that, then we shouldn't have any more issues, and the jojoba seed oil, the natural binding agent, will take over. The problem is the extreme conditions when you ship. All right, so we're going to head back to the kitchen. I'm going to show you that process, and hopefully we'll have a good result and some nice smooth beard balm.
All right, so we're back in the kitchen, and what we're going to do is we're going to figure out a good safe way to melt the ingredients in our utility balm, and then we're going to pop it in the freezer for an hour, and if everything goes well, as it did before when I tried this, we're going to have some nice smooth lumberyard utility balm. All right, so guys, don't get scared because we're in the kitchen, right? All you need to know how to do is boil water. So if you can do that, then you're in good shape. You need a pot, maybe 2 pots, because what we're going to do is we're going to get some water just boiling and then pour the water into another container, and that's what we're going to do, set our beard balm down in there, basically until all of the ingredients melt. So we may need to give it a stir or do something extra, because this is a large container, so it may take a little bit of finagling to get everything melted down exactly like we want it. But at the same time, we don't want it to get too hot, because if you start boiling, you can have chemical changes that can happen to the ingredients that are in here. So you want to get it just warm enough at a slow pace to kind of melt everything. And then we're going to pop it in the freezer for an hour, and hopefully we'll have some nice smooth utility balm. All right, so here we go.
Okay, our water is just starting to boil. So what I'll do is to just turn that off. And I'm going to pour it into the other pot. And basically I want it just below where the lid is. So see if I can do this one-handed. And that should be good right there. So then I'm going to wait about 10 to 15 minutes. I'll take it out and take the lid off and check to see if it's all the way melted. I may need to take something to give it a little bit of a stir to break up the if there's any solid pieces left, and then maybe put it back in the water or reheat the water a little bit. So we'll check that out in a few minutes. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes. I opened it up and checked it, and there was just one small little solid piece in there. So what I did was I just kind of turned it around in my hand, the jar, after I put the lid back on it, and then set it back in the water for 5 more minutes. And I actually set the pot back on the burner, but I didn't turn the burner back on. It was still a little bit warm from earlier, just to give it a little bit more heat there without causing any damage. And now, if you'll take a look, it is completely melted, which is what we wanted. So now we're starting from the same, all of those ingredients are now the same temperature, and what we're going to do is to put it in the freezer for an hour. And what that's going to do is to allow every single ingredient, it's going to hit the solidification temperature basically within a really close time to each other. So that should mean that it's going to stay together, and the natural binding agents that are in there from a couple of those natural ingredients are actually going to help hold everything together. And we're basically doing a reboot on it. All right, so we'll check it back in about an hour and see if we have accomplished our goal. All right, moment of truth. Just got this out of the freezer. It's been 1 hour. So let's take a look and see. It looks better. So let's see what happens here. Is it going to be smooth? Oh yeah. Absolutely no grit. Very buttery smooth. And now I can enjoy my beard balm.